everybody, and welcome to Biz, Passion, and Voice. We are here today with Michalle Ricketts. I am so excited. She's going to bring us in on some things that people are missing in their health and how they're approaching their health and business and life, and what we can do about all of these things and being responsible for all of them, right? And so thank you so much for being here today, Michalle.
I am thrilled to be here with you, Monica. Thank you for having me as a guest.
Of course, of course. I'm going to start here. I know it's probably a deep, we're going to just bypass all the things. I want to talk about being coachable. Let's, it's
Okay.
not something a lot of people can talk about, right? So the fact that I have you here, that you know what this is about, I'm excited. So tell us a little about what you think about being coachable, and how it's served you in your life, maybe, or how you learned that coachability is a thing that can be
Well,
valuable.
it is something, thank you. And it is something that we all look to as business owners, whether you're an entrepreneur or, you work for somebody, you look for someone to be able to do something that you're asking them to do. And we have it in life as well. And that's it. In life, it's usually little things that we take and we say, yes, we'll do that. Yes, we'll do that. That's being coachable. It's being open to doing something that somebody else is asking you to do that you can learn from, you can gain knowledge about. When in business, it's key because a lot of people want to do something. They want to improve their business. They want to improve their health. How many people start diet plans or join a gym and never go, right? There's a lot of things in life we want to do, but wanting to do it and being open to doing it are two different things. And that being open to is the coachability. So as an individual, I like to feel that I am open to doing and trying new things. And I do that on a regular basis. And that, I believe, makes me coachable. With clients, I'm looking for that because I don't want to make somebody, and I'm not going to make somebody do something. It's not mandated. That's why people ask me if I'm a coach versus a consultant. And I say a consultant because with me as a sports background, coaching, it's do this, do this, do this. Consulting is I recommend or I suggest, but doing it is all on you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So,
I might have
yeah.
to change that title for that reason. I am not going to force you to do that, but I'm going to let you know how it will serve you to do so, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's definitely well said. Absolutely well said. Yes, and let's talk about that athletic background. Is that how you came into this work?
Well, it isn't actually. And it's funny because people do ask me, you're a personal trainer. Have you done this? You've done that. I've always done something athletic. I mean, mom started us in ballet, gymnastics, and diving when I was, I think, ballet was 5 years old. The other things was early on. I used to go to the YWCA for anybody who still remembers those and has them in their city or town. But that was sort of the early beginnings of athleticism, and then through school I was on the track and field team, and our coach made us do long distance running, which I never liked because I was a sprinter. If it's more than 10 seconds, I don't want to do it. But
Yeah,
that
I'm
was
done.
it. And then as I came out of that, then I got into bodybuilding, and I was an amateur bodybuilder for 4 years. So all of those things started my athleticism. And, I still, many decades later, I've done something all my life, 5, 6, 7 days a week. Now I do 5 or 6 days doing something that's fitness, and it keeps me young. It keeps us healthy, and it allows us to move forward. I speak about being a tenacious leader, and that tenacity and that grit, it's a word my brother loves to use. That's something you have to move forward, but you need your body, your mind, your spirit needs to be able to do that and to have rest and good nutritious food with fitness. Those things are what help us to keep rising up through the challenges and the punches that come at us. So the athleticism is a key to that, but those other elements have to come in as well.
Yes, yes, that's so true. The tenacity piece, I think, is an important element because I had to I came out that way. I don't know if it was my mother or Like we were told,
Yeah.
she was not having us in the house, that's for sure. So,
Yeah.
piano lessons, YMCA. Like my sister was in softball and volleyball and other stuff, and I was just like, sounds hot, and I didn't do anything. I tried for a little bit here and there, but it became her thing. So I'm not the
Mhm.
athletic one, so to speak. But what I did learn tenacity in is in music. So I have a master's in opera performance. So that
Wonderful.
took a lot of tenacity. So
Yeah.
it's kind of in my blood, so to speak, to do what it takes. But I find that it's something that's maybe even along the lines next to coachability a little bit, because a lot of my clients, I feel like, don't believe in their capacity for tenacity, right? And I do believe
Hmm.
in following your inclinations, but I find that they don't really quite know the difference between like kind of doing what's healthy and satisfying soulfully, and then also to kind of keep working towards what they're working on, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little
People
about
give up
how
a
you think
little
about
bit
that.
too soon. Do you find people give up a little bit too soon?
Yeah, they're so ready to give up, and they're always a little bit too close to that possibility, right? Like it's like, well, if it doesn't work, I'll go get a job. If it doesn't work, like
Yeah.
it's you have to be a little bit closer to, I'm gonna make this work, right? And not
Hmm.
necessarily in a
Hmm.
forceful way, but I will find out, I will experience, I'm willing to receive, I'm willing to be open to what are the possibilities of making this work, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I think it was, I saw a post one day and I want to say it was either Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone. I can't remember which one who posted, but they said you don't, not having a backup plan. Like in a lot of things in life, we're taught to have a backup plan, but it's being an entrepreneur or going after something that is a key goal for you, it's your music. It's what's the backup? No, you don't have a backup plan because you're going to make it work. And that's where that tenacity comes in, is being able to make it work and not saying, well, if it doesn't, then I won't do it. Oh, well, no, that's okay. Right. Not saying,
Right.
no, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up. That's what drives us forward. That's something that, as you said, I think I got that from my mom for sure. She was that strong woman who, raised three kids on her own in, the in late 60s, early 70s, and just kept pushing through. Things got thrown at her and she just kept doing it. She wasn't perfect. None of us are. But
Yeah.
it's being able to just keep pushing through and not giving up too soon, for sure.
Right. And the combination, right? The showing up, the keeping your eyes open for what's
Hmm.
next.
Hmm. Yeah.
And also, but just the fortitude, the ability to keep going, and doing what is necessary. Like if it
Hmm.
is necessary, like go ahead and get
Yeah.
it done, right? And so I find that we're in this confluence of what is what is necessary and what is pushing into burnout, right? Like
Hmm.
how are you talking about moving and between these worlds of business and self-care and health, and right, like
It is really about understanding our own limits and not pushing past them. I mean, my brother would be the first one to tell anybody that, yeah, my God, Michelle works a lot, and she does, and I do. But I also know I need to take care of myself and be able to step back. And at the end of the day, and at the end of every day, I try and have an hour where I'm just not doing anything that's hard brain work, right? I'm trying to stay off my phone, getting off my computer. It doesn't happen every day, but most days, because you need that downtime, that time to come back down, to relax, to go to bed. But it's also during life, things that get thrown at us, is taking care of ourselves. And that does mean sometimes stepping back a bit from the day, stepping back a bit from work, and really making sure that you put self-care time in there. So it could be that it is, you want to go to a spa, or for you, it may be being able to take some time and doing some practice and just enjoying something that's not about the business side of it, right? It might be something that is just for fun. We all need to have time where we're both resting our brain and our body. And that doesn't mean necessarily going and laying down, but if it does for you, that's okay. And giving ourselves that grace and permission to take care of ourselves and not be in the struggle 24/7. right? We want to make sure we have that self-care. And I bring that into my consulting with my clients. I always ask them first of every session, how are you? How do you feel? They can't say fine or okay. They've got to talk to me. And then we talk through what's going on. Are you annoyed, pissed off, happy, right? Whatever it is. But just saying, I wrote an article sometime back saying that hello, it's a greeting. It's a question. It's not a greeting, right? It is. It's a question. How are you? Hello, how are you? And asking it as a question, we want the answer, and we want to understand for ourselves, how are we? And if that answer is not a good one, that's when we need to take stock and step back and say, okay, today I just need to not do something. I need to take time for myself. Maybe you start with an afternoon, or maybe you start with a couple hours a week, whatever it is, but you need to build up to have some time that's for you and taking care of yourself, whatever that means for you. For some people, it's going out and racing a car. That's fun. For some of us, it's watching a movie or reading a book, right? Or just relaxing in a spa, but just understanding that and being able to give that yourself that grace.
I second it. I second that completely, because yeah, you have to start somewhere. You want to find the time, and finding the time is the commitment, in my opinion. It's the commitment to that, keeping moving, keeping forward. Because if you're not committing to time off, then you're not committing to the time on, right? Like you're
Yeah,
kind of living in that in between state. Um,
exactly.
so it is important to know where you are and what you're doing and why, and
And I'll
choosing it
say
on
one thing
purpose,
there. You're
obviously.
you're saying what you said to find the time. It's about making the time, because
Yeah.
we'll never find it, right? For most people, it's like I don't have the time. It's about actually making the time for yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, and that's what I mean. Like I go into my schedule and I'm like,
Yes.
that's the time, right?
Time block
Right.
it in. Absolutely.
That's the thing, because you need it concretized. Otherwise, you can't hold yourself responsible. That's the hard part about being your own boss, right? You have to, and you are the own boss of your health, and you are the own
Mhm,
boss of
mhm.
your mental stability. So yes,
Yeah, yeah.
in all those ways.
And part of how I help people do that, as you said, making your time, and you've got to be responsible. My brother calls me the queen of calendar, and that's because I help people to schedule and block their day. And it's not about being inflexible. It's about being able to put that structure in so you can hold yourself accountable to what you need to do. And if that is going in and picking up kids, going to an appointment, whatever it might be, but you want to ensure that you have blocked out your day to know this is what I have to do, especially as a startup or as a new entrepreneur. There are so many distractions in life. If we don't use a calendar and scheduling to block things, then you go off in tangents of doing and you get distracted, right? And
Yeah.
so blocking the time and having that focus on, what do I need to do next? What do I need to do next? What do I need to do next? Because it's so easy to get up and not do, right?
Life
Or
is always happening, is what I say. Life
yes,
is
yeah,
happening, and so it will pull you away if you let it. And I don't know how you feel about this, but a lot of times I tell my clients, at least put it in the calendar. At minimum, if you miss the time, you can say, oh, I was planning on doing that, reschedule it into a better time. And at least
mhm,
you're kind of holding yourself to an accountability point of saying, yes, I am meaning to do this. This is a priority for me. And then,
yes,
it just starts to build that muscle a little bit in the
yeah.
beginning. Yeah.
Yes, and if you, for somebody who's not used to scheduling and using a calendar, you're right. You start with a little bit at a time and then you build up to it. If I showed you my calendar,
People
it'd be
are like,
crazy. But it
same
colors and all
here.
kinds of things.
We
Yeah.
have to talk, because I have a whole thing with calendars, and it's literally what well, helped me build a career in the first place, and then kept me from, you know, pissing anybody
The
off, because
distractions. Yeah.
I don't naturally show up on time, but the calendar tells me where to be on what time, and I have like kind of ADHD, so sometimes I'm not going to remember. I will completely forget that I have
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
planned. And so I need it. I need it to check back to, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
It
It's, and
tells me
it
what
is,
time it
it's
is.
It's perfectly good, okay to be okay. That's the thing, is giving yourself that grace. So yes, when you lean into the calendar, I say you're using your calendar as an asset, not a liability. It helps you, takes it out of your head. You don't have to think, what am I forgetting? What did I have to do? Where do I have to be? You just look at it. And it's not about being inflexible. As you said, if you don't get something done or something takes more time, you adjust. But at least you have that area of focus of what's in the calendar to know, okay, I'm supposed to be here, I'm going here next, I've got this, I've got to wear this. I look at my calendar the night before, so I know what my day is going to be like. What do I need to, where do I need to go? Am I driving? Am I just in my computer? What do I have to wear? Is it something where I have to wear something different? Today, I'm dressing differently. I don't necessarily wear a lovely blouse when I'm just sitting at my computer for myself. But to come
Yeah.
see you today, yes, I wanted to do that. So yeah.
Which is gorgeous and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
um, and do you have any other like process or systems that you help people with to get their wellness and business in hand?
Absolutely. You're speaking my language. So my two key areas that I work on is really that systems process. In our business, we have sort of two segments. We look at the incubator, which is the foundation of their business. So what are they doing with their processes and systems? What gets your product or service from creation to client? Because everything in between is your process and system. And so I
Mhm.
look at how are those set up? Where are they documented? Because if they're not documented, you're never going to be able to have other people do things, and you're going to be chained to doing everything yourself and wearing all the hats. And it's a
Mhm.
struggle. So I'm helping with business owners, and in some cases executives as well, stop wearing all the hats, being able to delegate, being able to time block. So then you have time to be able to do some of those passionate things, both in business and in life. But if you're not taking care of how things are done and how others are able to help you, you're never going to get to that.
Absolutely. Yes. And that's something I think people don't realize how supportive systems can be. Like they don't realize that they're not restrictive, but they actually allow you to just let go of some things out of your head to be able to trust that you've got things in hand because you already know how it's going to work and you already know what's
Mhm,
next. You don't have to make that up as you go all the time. And which is
mhm.
what you have to do if you're going purely by creative inspiration, which is,
Yeah,
I'm not going to
yeah,
say never
yeah.
happens, but it's something that I
It
do.
does.
And then I do my best to plug it back into a system so that I can get back to it, so I can get things done, so I can
Hmm.
keep moving forward, right? So I
Absolutely.
love that. I think it's so needed. And especially from somebody of your level of expertise, you seem to have a long history of helping business and doing your own work athletically and health wise and helping others to
Thank
combine
you.
those
Thank you.
two. So
Yeah,
beautiful,
and
beautiful.
I always say to people too, if you're not able to step away from your business for hours, a few days, start with a weekend, then you really are employing yourself as an employee. You don't have a business. I saw a grid yesterday on social media, and I don't remember who it was, but I loved it.
Uh-oh, got a little freezing.
Business owner and investor. And so employee was that you're working for someone else. Self-employed, or you're working for yourself as an employee. So employed was that you are actually generating revenues and you have a business. And then business owner was you're generating revenues, you have a business, you have employees. And then investor was you're using your money to make you more money in some other way or shape or form. So I actually loved that grid. They had the four quadrants because we all think about that, but I hadn't really looked at it that way before. So yeah.
Yeah, I like it a lot because it does help you understand like kind of the different components of business as well. Like what parts do you want to make sure are operating right in your systems, and how do you want to have a business? You if you want everything on you, probably not. Then you want to have an idea of how you're implementing those other pieces.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love that. Beautiful. So yes, for 35 years doing this experience and combines wellness and business acumen to guide executives and owners. How do people find you?
Well, I'm on all the social platforms. So Michalle Ricketts is for most of them, or Cohesion Services. You can find me both ways. And for your audience, I'm happy to share when you are launching the podcast, my business test for them so they can do a bit of a freedom audit. So my business freedom analysis will allow them a few questions just to kind of see where they are. And it gives people that knowledge of, okay, I need to do less of this, more of that as well. And then always happy to do a free consultation afterwards.
Absolutely. I highly recommend that. There's very few people that understand kind of the matrices of business. In other words, what makes a business, what components allow you certain abilities. And, being able to talk to somebody who has the understanding and to have it formulated so that you're not kind of bouncing back and forth between these, because otherwise you're just bouncing against all the marketing out there that tells you that
Yeah.
this is the only way. And now you're building like 10,000 separate systems that do not integrate and are not working together. So yes, please talk to somebody like Michalle in order to understand, like kind of, if you want to know a long-term plan that will support you. I think this is a
Absolutely.
great place to start. So thank you so much, and thank you, audience, for being here today and with me and Michalle. And
Thank
I
you.
am so glad that you joined us, Michalle.
So happy to be here. Thank you so much. And I love talking to you and happy to chat with any of your audience who's interested.
Beautiful. All right, guys, I will see you on the next interview.